It is high.
Voicemails.
It is far.
Voicemails.
It is God.
Talkin' Yanks voicemail show with BBD and Joes.
What up, y'all? How you guys doing? I am Joe's McFly. That is BBD. We have Alex grabbing the grabbalist corner down here. Guys, the Yankees lost the game yesterday to the Texas Rangers. And once again today, at the time of this recording, are going to be setting up to be playing a rubber match, which feels like forever that the Yankees are playing a rubber match because they keep losing the second game of series or winning the second game of series. They're just not winning the first two. Clay Holmes was a big reason as to why the Yankees lost yesterday. His 11th blown save of the season. 11 times the Yankees have gotten the ball to the finish line. 11 times the save has been blown. That's not his full opportunities. That's just the ones that he's blown. We'll get to your voicemails and we'll let you guys rant for sure. Beeps, how you doing?
I'm okay. A little upset with the Yankees and everything that's going on that I think the people have called about. So I think we let them cook.
Let them cook.
And then I'll have more to say.
Let them cook then. Chef up.
Here we go.
Big fan of the boys. Watch the show every day during work. Oh, my gosh. These Yankees. Clay Holmes, fake all-star. You know, everybody was saying at the beginning of the year. I know my dad was not liking him, and I kept saying, you know, he's not perfect, but it just got to the point we can't trust him in that 9 spot anymore. I don't know who you want to ride with at this point, but I'm done with it. I can't take it anymore. And the Yankees can never find a way to just sweep a series. It's quite embarrassing. I don't know if we're a World Series team at this point. Thanks, guys.
Guys, I don't know what we're doing. All right, I got a nice night of sleep. It wasn't great, but I got the sleep, so I'm kind of clear, level-headed. What are we doing? He's not the closer. Everybody knows that. Any Yankee fan watching knew how that game was going to go. You know why? Because when he walks that third batter, he got man on first and second with 1 out, that runner's scoring unless it's a double play. He is a pitch to soft contact guy. When the bases are loaded, the game is at least tied. It just makes it, no, but he's 1 pitch away. He's 1 pitch away from getting out of it. But he's not. He's not going to get out of it. And I like Clay Holmes. He's a good guy. I want it to work, but it's not going to work. Thanks for your time, guys. Talk to you later.
Yeah, all I got to say is that Clay Holmes cannot be the closer going forward. 11 blown saves, most in the major leagues. I don't care what Boone says. I don't care what anyone says. You're going to have to do closer by committee because right now Clay Holmes is not the guy. And losing important games that you need is not it. So hopefully the Yankees can do that.
Okay.
Hey, Joes. Hey, BBD.
What's up?
I am sick and tired of watching Clay Holmes blow games over and over and over again. I love this team so much, but I'm so tired of Boone putting him in and believing in him. Like, what is going on? What are we doing? I don't know. I'm just so sick and tired of this. I wonder when something's going to change, but as long as people keep going, they keep getting money in their pockets, nothing's going to change. Thanks, guys.
First off, want to say, big Yankees fan, love the show, guys. Listen, if we don't get rid of Holmes by October, this team is not making it out of the first round. If I am, I don't care what you have to do. 11 blown saves. I've seen, I wish Chapman was still here. That is the craziest thing I've ever said. In my 18 years of living, I never thought I'd ask for Aroldis Chapman back in my life.
Wow.
All I got to say is that IKF had 2 scoreless nights for us. And that's better than what Clay Holmes has done in his last 2 appearances. I mean, come on.
I think I want one more, and then you guys can give your piece.
That got me good.
Hi, this is Emily calling from upstate New York. Diehard Yankees fan. Dad started taking me to games at the old stadium when I was 10.
Nice.
I'm just a little bit confused as to why Boone is saying that he doesn't feel like Holmes has had a lot of stretches in this season, referencing last night's loss against the Rangers. He literally leads Major League Baseball in blown saves. So I guess I'm just looking for some clarification on Boone's comment. Go Yankees.
Okay. Yeah.
So last night was a game that in a lot of ways can be put on Clay Holmes. It was a bit, I've been a Clay Holmes defender in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of people agree. Like, in general, good reliever. Last night, first time in a long time, he straight up didn't have it, looked bad, was getting hit hard, had trouble finding the zone. There was a little bit of like signs of that game before when they brought them in a non-safe spot that I was like, okay, that next appearance will be telling, because he was having some trouble locating in game 1 of this series, but he had pitched 8 pitches in the previous week, and I was like, all right, well, sometimes you got to keep them regular, so that first game, whatever. All of that being said, he was terrible last night. I understand the complaints on a high level, and more than any issue I have with Clay as an individual, it's the philosophy the Yankees have had of just saying, no, he's good. And I'm not even saying I disagree with him being good in general, but for a team that like doesn't like pigeonholing themselves or putting people in bad positions and all that, they, at the deadline on everybody's wish list was like, add like 2 good relievers and all that. They didn't add anybody who's even like a candidate to replace Clay.
So
this
is
you pigeonholed yourself.
So the big issue is mentality. And I think that the Yankees are very slow to change with a lot of things. I also think that they're very slow to adjust with other things. I feel like they're a very loyal franchise, sometimes to a fault, to players. And I'll tell you what. I mean, Brian Cashman's quotes are very tough at the deadline when he said, Clay Holmes is my closer. And he said it emphatically. Like, why are you questioning it? He wasn't even looking for closers, he said. Mm-hmm. Which to me is wild, because I think that you just want to get the best reliever. You shouldn't be getting, closer or relief pitcher. Or I think it should just be like, let me just try to get the best pitcher. If he happens to be a closer, whatever.
The Yankees were one of the teams at the beginning, like the bullpen revolution that like saw with the Royals and were like, oh, let's get like 4 people with closing experience, put them in one bullpen.
I mean, this is why
that's what the Yankees did. That's what they would target.
I was so mad at the deadline. This is why before I said doing nothing is crazy. This is why it's a problem, because, the reason that the trade deadline is there, yes, it's for you to trade. It's for you to try to also stack the deck in certain places to assure yourselves of a better chance come October. And the Yankees didn't do that at the deadline. The Jazz acquisition was great and has been great.
Thank God.
Yes, but the acquisition for the pen has not been. And for you, I don't know what numbers the Yankees were looking at, but if you didn't acknowledge that the pen was an issue or a concern, then I don't know what you were doing. And maybe the Yankees the whole time were saying, hey, we got F. Frost, we got Ian Hamilton, we got, they're thinking about all of these other guys.
Trevino.
Yeah. Hey, we got a litany of guys coming back. We'll hit on 1 or 2. Like, why are you playing that game? You're the Yankees. Soto was last year. And it just sucks that, the offense could have did more yesterday. But it sucks that once again, and we've gotten to a point where we're basically at the point where, okay, this is where we need to convert it into a W, and it's a blown save. And not every blown save has been a loss, but if you convert maybe half of those blown saves into W's, how much better is the record right now? What's the lead in the division? All of those things pile up, Pop, at the end of the year. There's the tally. That's done. Every night there is a tally on the W column and the L column. Okay? And 11 times you could have switched what happened in one column to the other, and it ended up being a blown save. That's not good. Let's acknowledge that, and I appreciate everybody that called, and we let it play because everybody needs to get heard from everybody. And yes, even I forgot her name. Emily, where she called in, and she's like, she was sincerely asking, what is he talking about not being through a rough stretch? He has 11 blown saves, which is the most for a Yankee closer since Dave Righetti in '83. I wasn't even born, Pop. I wasn't even born. I'm 38. So give me a break. That's what I'll say about the whole Clay Holmes thing. Figure it out. But Clay Holmes is not it. He's a good pitcher in the 7th inning, in the 8th inning, all of that stuff. The same way that closers are not themselves when it's not a safe situation is the same way that some other pitchers, when they pitch in that 9th, it's not the same. It's just not the same. It's a different beast.
I'm higher. I generally believe in Clay Holmes, and
sure,
he's best served not being the closer. He's great as a 7th, 8th inning guy available to you, who is capable of closing some games.
Sure.
He's capable of closing some games, and we can talk about. I can talk about how 11 blown saves, a little bit of a fake number. Like one of those is extra inning ghost runner came in on a fly,
but that's
on a
problem
ground ball,
too.
And fly out. I think that it's there were no hits, there was whatever. We can talk about how a couple of them not his fault. They were the occasions when he was brought in with an out in the 8th inning, the times he got extended, and those games are the ones he blew when he was asked to do something different than usual. There are a few of those, obviously, and the Yankees will also tell you that. But even if we're in this world where Clay Holmes is the best closer in baseball, the Yankees for a couple months there were on a big press tour telling us that almost it felt like weekly somebody had to say something about how Clay Holmes is the best. Even with that, you needed more depth, you needed more options. They've put Clay Holmes himself in timeouts before in previous seasons when he's been the closer. It's not like that big a deal. They did it with Aroldis Chapman, who is, one of the better closers of the last decade. They did it with him. They've done it with Clay Holmes himself. You can, even if they truly, truly believe Clay Holmes is best closer in baseball, one of them, why did they not? Why does it seem like they just did not want another option there? Because even then, what if Clay got hurt? You believe in him this much. What if he just got hurt and you just don't have anybody? You're so scared of there being pressure to make a switch that what if your hand was just forced? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to address it. They believed in Mark Leiter. They still believe in Mark Leiter. He's under contract longer than this year. He's interesting. That's fine. I like him as a depth addition. But we've been asking since April. Since the start of this show, we've been asking for a guy who day one we feel good about putting in the 8th inning or later.
You don't have...
And they didn't do it.
The problem with Clay as the closer is a Yankee issue. The reason I say it is because you just don't have the personnel for him to be a closer, Pop. The infield's not good. You're going and you're playing Pokemon, the old school Pokemon game, and you're going to go fight the fire gym leader with all grass type and saying this is going to work out. This is going to work out. And you're really sincere. You want to look me in my face. And when you're getting smoked out that gym, you're wondering why I lost. Well, this is why. This is why you lost. The infield's not good enough to have Clay Holmes as the closer. It's just the truth.
Even the version of Clay, we just saw him go on a 2-month-long run of his strikeout rate way up. He does punch tickets. I will give them that. He strikes out more guys than he gets credit for. those balls that do get put in play, even beyond the strikeouts, even when those are up, the balls that get put in play are soft grounders that this infield's not equipped for. And they actually did make the switch by the time the ninth inning came around yesterday, and the ground balls aren't even what killed them yesterday. That's what made me so frustrated about this Clay game, because it wasn't even the usual Yankees Clay home. It's just a bad process thing. I
think yesterday was mental.
Yesterday, just Clay had nothing. He had nothing for them.
I think yesterday was mental, which shows me you can't be the closer. Because he even said he sped up his delivery. The game kind of sped up on. Once you start talking,
locate it all.
Once you start talking like that, location goes.
You at least need a reset.
Confidence in your stuff. You just can't be the closer, Pop. It's just what it is. Closer by committee. The closer by committee just hasn't been proven to work ever. But maybe this is the first time. I don't know.
And that goes. It goes back to what we were saying. Like, they put themselves in this spot where it's like, yeah, like I'd love to be able to give Clay Holmes a breather. Who's the option that's going to be put in there that I'm like, I fully believe in this. Like, Canely, I love as a reliever. He's never really closed. He'd be like, I guess, the first pick. Luke Weaver's had a great year. He just recently got lit up a little by the Rangers the other night. Like, that's all weird. They do this as is, like, their right side of the infield, like, just isn't good. Glaber's very mistake prone.
That's a personnel. That's a personnel issue.
They've had first basemen that don't know how to play first. That, like, not their fault. They aren't. It's very experienced first baseman. DJ more so than your Rices, or if you wanted to throw Cabrera over there or whatever. Rizzo has been down for a while. He just got back. Sure, I can believe in him, but most of this year you haven't had him. Jazz Chisholm has done a very good job at third. He's had a few plays where the inexperience shows, and that's what the issue is. Just like, he's just not experienced over there. Like, I can't feel amazing about that come the high pressure ninth inning spots when that's not his fault at all, and we'll get there, assuming that's where he sticks long term. But he's not experienced over there. Volpe, good. Your defense, good. Besides that one game against the Orioles, which is another one of the Clay blown saves where it's like, where if you wanted to play this game, yes, that one's not on him. He got the last out twice, but they don't have the formula that matches Clay as a closer.
Yeah. So
let alone whatever you feel about should Clay even be there?
Yeah, it's just a personnel issue, and it's a personnel issue missing people in the pen. It's a personnel issue missing in the infield. That's basically what it is.
Boone himself said to us, because we've around the office, a few of us have talked in general about some ways to get creative. Is Clay a guy that would benefit from the 5-man infield? Yes, but. And Boone himself said this on Talkin Yanks. Clay's a guy that would benefit from that. We don't have the personnel for that. So they can't even really mess around with it. Because who are the two outfielders going to be? Judge and Soto, good outfielders, but Soto, whatever. Not without his defensive shortcomings. He's best hitter of a generation, whatever. But that's not a 5-man infield type outfield arrangement.
They just run into each other. That's what they'll do. They'll run into each other. That's what it is. I mean, you got 5-man, 6-man. They're not
equipped to maximize
9-man infield. Doesn't matter, bro. They're just gonna run into each other. All right.
Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to the closer role a little bit later, but I wanted to save one of our more fiery voicemails that kind of transitions into more of a disgruntled attitude towards the front office.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. I mean, I just don't know how you can look at everything that goes on. Clay Holmes, DJ, Verdugo, the team, the offense, the fucking bullpen, every fucking thing that fucking happens with the fucking team, and think, you know what? We don't need to do anything. Let's just keep doing everything the way we're doing it. Everyone should be fired. Seriously. What's the point? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Come on. What the fuck are we doing?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say to that. I know why you're frustrated. I was upset yesterday too.
We got a few more I could play if you want to pick and choose some more things to specifically respond to. Sure. That one was just a little bit of the more passionate one.
Hey boys, huge fan of the show. Watch every Yankee game, obviously tonight, absolutely gut wrenching. I got two main things to say. Any Yankee fan out here who takes this team seriously, this is a joke. Boone and Cashman, they continuously play out there when he's got the most blown saves in the league. And two, this team doesn't stand a chance in the playoffs with the bullpen and how the roster is constructed right now. Absolutely pathetic. Hope I get on the show.
Well, you're on, Pop. Listen, the Rangers won without a good bullpen, technically. But
I've seen bullpens come together at the end. The Yankees have the type of starting pitching that can pivot to that role.
I don't really trust
but
the
you
bullpen.
don't. And those teams didn't feel good about that going in. They knew that was a nervous thing. And for every example of a team where it did come together, the 19 Nationals, and some of the other, one of those Houston teams I know had some of that going on. For every example of one of those, that Braves team I think was one of those. For every example of that, there's teams that were bounced early because they just don't have a bullpen that they trust. So again, we can point to the examples of when it worked. Those are the exception.
Yeah, right. That doesn't happen.
As much as, it's just many more times of it not happening that way than it does. When it does, it's great. I hope it does happen because that would mean good things for this team that I and you and just about everybody listening roots for.
You could get a lot in the 1800s. Bullpen is not strong.
They
because they're pitching all game.
The stubbornness of the organization has been a frustration point for a few years. Just this year, we can point to many examples. How much run DJ's gotten. I know some of that is the run of lefties that they had to fit and all that. How dedicated they are to playing as the closer, which is kind of the main topic of this episode. How dedicated they were to Volpe leadoff, which they had. They eventually moved away from. How dedicated they are to Verdugo being out there. Again, he's been good the last week and a half, 2 weeks, but for 3 months he was not. There's example after example of times that they just dragged their feet, stuck through it, powered through it, as if it was going to be some crime to move off it. And I understand that some decisions are genuinely harder than others, and some backup choices are more appealing than others. In previous years, like the last couple of years, they had Josh Donaldson on the team, and when he was healthy, he would play every day. And to a degree, we would go back and forth with Boone about this. We'd go back and forth in the office about this. What other options are there? And in some cases, that's a really good question. Sometimes their hand was just forced, and it was a mistake in building the team. And that's okay. There's times during the year you can address that. Trade deadline. But they dig their heels in and don't try things just for the sake of trying things sometimes, which now sometimes you can be too wrong in that direction, of course. But we got to find the middle here because they dig their feet in it feels like every time.
Yankees want to be more right than what they want to win. Or if they do win, they want to win their way instead of just finding any way to win. I'm not even talking about the players.
They would rather win their way than win.
I think that's more the organizational thing, and I think that's
not the players at all.
Yeah, that's an ego thing. It is hey, we got our way. This is our way. This is our way works. Our process works, and it's not.
It hasn't worked. It hasn't all the way worked. I understand
it's worked in the way of producing a winning team in the regular season. Yankees have not had a losing season, but it hasn't worked to the point of building a team to win in the playoffs. They've built a team. They've built teams. They have a philosophy of knowing how to handle the regular season schedule, However, they don't know or they don't have the philosophy organizationally on how to attack October. And they treat October like it's a crapshoot, which is not. I don't think it is. I don't think success is by mistake. I think it's on purpose.
Like, I give them grace on some things. I can give them that. Like, it's baseball. Things happen in a game sometimes and all that. There is an element of chance come the playoffs. You can improve your chances by doing things differently than they have, by moving off this or that or whatever. Like I have no problem with the teams that like believe in their heads. Like, to a degree, it's a crapshoot. Like baseball happens, but you can improve those odds. You can You can add dice to the mix. Whatever analogy you want to use.
It's a philosophy thing.
They don't believe they can. It does not. They do not give off the sense that you can actually improve your own chances, improve your own luck. Much like the Clay thing that's hanging over this episode. They almost, it feels like almost every time something happens, they attribute it to bad luck and leave it at that. It's like, well, you can, like, sure, I see the bad luck argument on some of these, but you can improve your luck. Put your best possible defense out there. That improves your chances of luck. Volpe can still boot a ball. Like, that happens. It's baseball. Mistakes happen. That's okay. That I can understand that. But give yourself the best possible chance. It's like they almost like are all in on the math and don't realize you can like make better probabilities.
Yeah.
They don't they don't pinch hit for DJ the first time or get him out. They don't get him out in the 8th inning. And it's like, all right, I guess they just want Rizzo to get a full day off his feet. Next inning, after DJ's already made this too close of a game, Rizzo does come in and is available to play the field. And it's like, well, why not make him play 2 innings? We're in a playoff push.
Yeah.
Again, any one mistake, we get how it can happen, but
right.
it's not about any one of these. Like I can go back and forth with them. They can tell me about like, well, how many times when you're up 3 do you see the defensive replacement brought in the 8th inning? Like, yeah, sure, that doesn't happen that often, but like you're in a playoff push and whatever. Like, we can debate any one of these. We can debate any. You can pick it. Of the issues we listed for this year of times they dragged their feet and waited too long to do anything, they eventually moved off the Volpe one. But like, sure, any one thing that like as a team you believe this, like they're okay, fine, you're all in on Verdugo. We'll figure it out in time for the playoffs and be a good contributor, and you love his defense and left. Like, sure, but that's your one thing.
Yeah.
Like when you have 4 or 5 things that everybody's like, well, this isn't working. Like everybody watching, and sure, you know more than we do.
I do hope that the Yanks could like figure that part out, but I don't know if they are. Let's see.
There's a feel to this that has existed for over 100 years.
Yeah,
and the Yankees are not the only organization guilty of taking feel out of the game to a degree, but in times like this, it shows in the lack of urgency come trade deadlines. Jazz trade was great. They've had years where they have really gone for it, but last year doing nothing was crazy. This year in the bullpen, I know they brought 2 bodies in, and they really believed in them. But let's be honest, that was kind of doing nothing, and doing nothing is crazy.
Yeah, that's it. What else we got?
Yeah, this next one, it seems like a pretty straightforward answer, but easier said than done.
Yeah, this is Evan from Long Island, New York. I was just wondering, like, Cashman and Boone have like already lost their fan base with their commitment to making the team better, and I was just wondering, like, is there a way that they can get the fan base back on their side? I mean, besides re-signing Soto, is like there anything else they could do? I feel like the fan base has completely lost everything in them, like me included. So yeah.
Winning in October. That's it. There's nothing else.
Kinda.
You re-signed Soto, yeah, and winning in October and not losing to the same team, which is the Astros, who are playing well. So that's the only two. That's the only two things that I see. I don't know what else.
Yeah, obviously in the offseason, you go get the guys that make this team better. They did it to a degree last offseason by going and making this Soto trade and going all in, even though they only had 1 year left. Like that was, I think, a different move than previous regimes would have done. So more of that. Maybe it's a sign of things to come. Soto's a free agent. Don't let him leave. That will be important. And then like everything in our lives and like our parents' lives, like this organization's built on winning in October. That's the only other way to change things.
That's it. You just do that, and then
do those.
A lot of things will change attitude-wise, but we'll see.
Okay, and now on to the pressing matter is who's going to be closing games.
Hey guys, just wondering what you guys think. Who do you think should be the closer going into the postseason after tonight's one grand slam? Thank you guys.
I think we touched on this. I think unfortunately what you're gonna have to do is have September as like an open audition month, and you're gonna try different people there, and then we see who comes out. I don't believe in closer by committee, especially in October, but I think that's what you do. I think you go ahead, you select a certain group of people that are in your circle of trust, and you see if they can handle that ninth inning and the pressure of closing the games. Sometimes you try them on back-to-back nights, or you try them in tough situations and see how they handle it. And then others you kind of play with. I mean, Yankees don't really have too many choices. It's either Canely, Weaver. If Hamilton comes back, maybe Hamilton. I don't know who else. I don't trust Heel there because he's walking. So, walking people. So, yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, it's just going to be Clay. And it's not that I even think that, given what they have here, I'm not the most uncomfortable with that compared to what the list of options are. And the other guys are used to their other roles. So it's
guys, maybe the guys
Clay just had a good month, but
Yankees will just go straight up their starters in the bullpen, on their throw days. They may be the closers.
They are going to have.
If you have Garrett Cole closing the game, if you have, you have some of these other guys closing the game. I mean, that's kind of like what
this happens come the playoffs.
What the Rangers did, so you could try to do that, but I don't know.
Knocking on all the wood in front of me, it seems like we're heading towards having extra starters available. So between the guys that are possible to kick to the pen, starters on their throw days that can tick up for an inning, that will be the easiest and most exciting way to get creative with this. But unfortunately, the choices are not obvious. And I would guess it's going to just be Clay.
Sure would have been cool if we would have had Kopech. Just saying. What else
he was available. He went.
I was going to say, did you want to expand a little bit more on the possibility of Heel and why you don't like it? Because we did get a voicemail on that.
The reason I don't like Heel there is because of his walks. For you to be a closer, you have to not allow people on base because then that creates situations. In the playoffs, it's different, guys. A walk is a rally. A walk is the same as a hit. Everything is ratcheted up when it comes to the playoffs. If you're in the ninth inning of a game that you are leading and you allow a walk and then you're down 2-0 in the next batter, the intensity at home or on the road is insane. So I'm not saying he cannot handle that situation. I'm just saying that when it comes to doing that, you want somebody that can minimize those metrics. I'll minimize walks. I'll minimize being wild like that. I'll minimize all of those things. And hey, maybe he could strike people out. Maybe he could get people out soft contact, whatever it is. I don't know, but you're going to need somebody that can be able to also handle that situation and also not walk people because that gives them free chances. It's only 27 outs. Every time you walk somebody, it gives them a free chance on the base paths. So it's not even like an earning of the way on, really. I mean, you could work walks, but if you're walking people like that, and Heel does have that issue.
That's been the scouting report for Heel the whole way. I'm certainly not at all on any level saying, no, I want there to be the walks, but the counter statement would be like, that's kind of just what almost every like reliever scouting report is they were a starter who walked too many guys. That's usually like what the path for those guys is then you go become a reliever, and that's what like the scouting report on Heel specifically was.
But not a closer. I'm not making him a closer.
I wouldn't make him a closer tomorrow. No.
Phil Hughes worked in the pen because he threw strikes, and his stuff ticketed up because he threw strikes, and he was a starter, and not only was he accurate, but he started throwing harder in the pen, so his stuff got even better because he could just air it out over 1 inning or even 2 innings, and it's fine versus trying to conserve himself over a whole game. Same thing with Jobbers Chamberlain, and all of those guys. There's just
not
an
walking
intensity to it.
is definitely better, and for a guy who hasn't done the high leverage relief role before, like throwing them just into that, like we aren't gonna feel amazing coming off that. I'm not necessarily like I'm not like terrified of that, because that's just like a little bit how relievers work. That's why they ended up there, and why it's considered such like a year over year like volatile role. But yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't put Heel as the closer, but in the pen in general, he can tick up. But if he looks like Louis Seal these last 4 starts he's gonna get, or whatever exactly it is, I have him starting like in game 3. So
okay.
Well, Stroh's been good.
The starters might be going to the pen.
It's their throw day.
On their throw day, they're going to be pitching. That's what I think.
They got to be ready.
Yeah, we got one more suggested closer here that has not been mentioned, and I'm curious if you guys like it more or less.
What's up, guys? Man, I'm so pissed after this loss. It's 7-4 grand slam with Clay Holmes. So I have an idea. I think the Yankees should call up Yogo. He's a fresh arm. He throws gas and he gets strikeouts. What the Yankees need as a closer position, I think you'd move Clay Holmes to the 8th inning, DFA Ron Ignacio, and just put Yogo in the closer position and see what happens. I mean, fresh arm, throws gas. What's the worst got to happen? I mean, blows 11 saves. Clay Holmes already had 11, so I don't know. Pretty frustrated, but as always, go Yanks.
I mean, I'm interested in him coming up and pitching. Why not?
On the list of guys we can try out.
On the 40? He's on the 40.
Yogo's on the 40, yeah.
So I'm interested in him coming up and trying to, and seeing what he does. And I think it's more, I don't think you throw him in a closer role. I think you start him out in high leverage innings, see how he handles those. Then you give him a save and see how he handles that. And that's it. Or a big moment, big spot. See how he handles it.
He's a guy with
easily
interesting
sold.
stuff. He's young. He's all that. So he's a guy who at least in some form.
Where's his fastball at?
It's a good question. I can look into that in a minute. I'm trying to see how stretched out he is because he's been starting most of the year. He went 3 innings the other day. So he's been a little stretched out. So we can try like down the stretch, like they should be trying down the stretch to see what that is like for 1 inning. While he's young, he's a guy that's had injury stuff, all that. So, his 4-seamer. He's been like stretched out, so it looks like average is 92. You take that up a little bit. Yeah. Try whoever. Like get guys in. Unfortunately the Yankees bullpen concerns aren't only in the closer role. So they just need bullpen depth and
bring them. I'm willing to see
them.
And in the past, September call-ups was so different because you can just have a whole bunch of different arms in there, and the hottest arms can they be like, oh,
they figured it out.
And
like
they just play.
They're that last spot, even though they were not here.
Yeah,
for a lot of it. I'm excited for Nick Birdie. He threw gas when he was up.
Birdie,
he's one of the guys that did strike out guys. He pitched sneaky little for this team. Somehow he's pitched 9 2/3 of an innings 9 2/3 innings in the big leagues.
Oh yeah.
So that doesn't feel right, but there's some guys down there. Yogo, Hamilton, and will be back soon. Poteet.
Yeah.
So there's guys that are options and coming back in some way or form. But
guys, thank you guys so much for leaving us voicemails this week. 908-845-5792.
We got to vent. You got to vent.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week we're talking about more positive things, having won a couple series.
Go Yankees. Win tonight.
Yanks. Win tonight.
Hit it high.
Voicemails.
Hit it far.
Voicemails.
Talkin' Yanks voicemail show.